Hello friends, today I'm here to share with you the books that I read in the month of August. I am filming this a couple of days early. It's only Saturday and the end of the month is not until Monday. But I need to do it today. So we're going to go ahead. Anything I read past this point will be on next month's wrap up. So I'm going to go back to doing it the way I did it a couple of months ago, where I list out all of the books that I read and my rating, and then I go in and talk about my favorites from the month. So let's go ahead and get started. First was Wild Highway by Devney Perry. I gave this one 4 stars. Beautifully Broken Spirit by Catherine Cowles. I gave this one 4 stars. Quarter Miles by Devney Perry. I gave this one 5 stars. Girl Gone Viral by Alicia Rai. I gave this one 3 stars. Beautifully Broken Control by Catherine Cowles. I gave this one 4 stars. Hero by Samantha Young. I gave this one 3 stars. Best Kind of Broken by Chelsea Fine. I gave this one 4 stars. Moonlight Seduction by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I gave this one 3 stars. Kiss My Cupcake by Helena Hunting. I gave this one 4 stars. The Wallflower Wager by Tessa Dare. I gave this one 4 stars. The Madness of Lauren Ian Mackenzie by Jennifer Ashley. I gave this one 4 stars. It was so very close to being a 5-star though. Pride by Evie Zaboy. I gave this one 4 stars. I read the Too Far set in Abby Glines' Rosemary Beach series. So I read Fallen Too Far, Never Too Far, and Forever Too Far. There's another one, but it was released later in the series, so I'm reading them in publication order, so I haven't gotten to it yet. Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese. I don't know. I gave this one 5 stars. The Duke by Kerrigan Byrne. I gave this one 4 stars. And finally, Come Back For Me by Corinne Michaels. I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, so there's only really these 3 that I want to talk about. I think there was 2 of these were 5 stars, and one of them was a 4-star, but like you can figure out which one it is a minute ago because I said it was very close to a 5-star. So first is Quarter Miles by Devney Perry. This is book 3 in her Runaway series, and this one is about Catherine and Cash. And so the premise of the Runaway series is that this group of teenagers were basically homeless when they were younger, and they all together, I think there's 6 of them, lived in this junkyard together. And in the first book, the heroine from that one has restored this old car that used to be at the junkyard that they used to kind of stay in, and she wants to take it from Boston to California to return it to the guy who is she actually considers the owner of it. So she's restored this car, she makes it so far from Boston, and she ends up stuck in this small town and falls in love. And in book 2, her best friend from Boston, who was also one of the runaway kids, comes to the small town, picks up the car from her, drives it to Montana to meet up with Catherine, because that's where Catherine ended up when she left California. But she ends up back with a first love kind of thing from... She also ran away to Montana, but she continued on to Boston. So in this third book, Catherine has been in love with Cash, one of the sons of the family at this place where she's staying and working. But I think he brought like a girl to a family dinner or something, and she was like, he doesn't do that. He's not that type of guy. He doesn't lead these girls on. If he brought her to this family dinner, then he really cares about her, and he doesn't really care about me like that. You know, so she decides, or they kind of set her up to continue taking the car on to, she can't go to California for reasons that, like, they get into, but that's a bit spoilery. So she decides she's going to take it to the next person on the way to California, and I think that was the Oregon coast? Yeah, in Oregon. So she's going to take the car on, she's going to go on a solo road trip, she's going to get over Cash, she's going to be great. And then Cash finds out that she's going alone, and he's like, well, no, she's not, I'm going with her. So they end up on this road trip together. And I loved these 2 really frustrating human beings. I loved them to pieces. Okay, so I read this all in a day. I mean, it's not super long, but just under 250 pages. So it's not super long, but I read it all in a day. I loved it. I love this cover. She did a cover change, but I actually prefer these covers. I think it makes them look more unique. The other covers just make them look like a generic adult romance. I feel like these are better suited. So, I loved this book to pieces. So, next is the one that was technically a 4-star, and that was The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie by Jennifer Ashley. So, the premise of this one is... I don't even know... I don't want to explain too much about it, because it was very hyped up, and I really feel like the hype was worth it. It was. I think it was hyped up a little bit too much for me, so that it wasn't quite that 5-star read. Okay, so everyone thinks that Ian is mad because he was in this asylum for a while. I don't know how old he was. I don't know if he was a teenager or if he was like young 20s when he was in this asylum. But basically at the start of this, he meets Beth, who is this kind of like... I guess she's the fiance of an associate of his, is what you would say. But he kind of warns her against her fiance and tells, like, what a bad guy he is and all this stuff that he does. And he's basically just like, instead of marrying him, you should marry me because I want to have sex with you. And that would be the way to do it. That sounds so weird. I'm not explaining this very well. I don't know. It was so good, though. I really liked their connection. A lot of the videos that I saw before I read it talked about how Ian was on the autism spectrum. It's just that nobody knew what that was back then. So there are parts of it where he is so sweet, but he doesn't even know that he's really being sweet. Because he's just asking a question because he doesn't understand. Bree at In Love and Words likes to talk about this piano scene where she says, what you're playing makes me sad, play something happy, and he's just like, I don't know what that does, I don't know what that means, I don't know how to associate a feeling with the music. And that was a good scene, but there was one where he was like, tell me what love feels like, because I don't know if that's what I'm feeling. I don't know how to connect my emotions to that, and I really liked that scene a lot. So, yes, highly, highly, highly recommend. And finally, probably my favorite book of them. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and admit that. This was my favorite book of the month. I read it on Kindle Unlimited, so it is available there. But I had to go order the paperback of this one and the next book right away. I hope that's all that's out, or I need to go order the rest of them. But I think this is all that is out so far. Only When It's Us by Chloe Liese. I don't know. I need to figure out how to pronounce her name because she is really good author. Okay, so this cover is stunning. So this is about Ryder and Willa. And at the beginning of this, we get Willa's perspective, and she is a college soccer player who is running late for her classes, and she misses the notes, or I remember if she was running late or she missed the class previously. Something happened. She needed to go get the notes from the professor, and the professor's basically just like, I'm not going to give them to you because you think you're entitled to them because you play sports. Get the notes from the guy who sits next to you. I gave mine to him already. So she goes and sits down next to Ryder, and she asks him for the notes, and he ignores her. I think there's like 2 or 3 other classes, and she asks for the notes, and he ignores her. And so she is really disliking him at this point because she thinks that he is being a super jerk and just like ignoring her just because. And then she finds out that Ryder is deaf. He had an illness when he was just starting college, and it caused him to lose the hearing completely in one ear and almost completely in the other ear. And so they kind of, once she knows that, she kind of like backs off a little bit of him and communicates a lot better about what she needs. And so the professor pairs them up on this, like, final project. They start working together, they start studying together, they become friends. And, like, that's where I'm gonna cut it off at, because if I say anything else, I'm gonna spoil it, and you just need to read it. It is so good. Like I said, I read it on Kindle Unlimited. Don't know how many pages it is. 357 pages. So, decent sized book, but it's so good. I loved this book so much. I'm probably literally about to stop filming this and go read book 2. So, those are my favorites from this month. How was your reading month? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!